Okay, so here I am trying to be creative and trying to figure out a way to make use of some trash and all this extra concrete that I have laying around. One thing I thought of is I had these paper rolls just sitting around in my kitchen, and I was like, maybe I can use these to make something useful. And I was like, I have a lot of candles, maybe I can turn this into an idea. And so what I did was I took one of the paper rolls and I actually cut a bit off of it so I could make two, but nothing ever goes right when it's just two. So I got a tissue roll and I actually cut that in half too. And so what I did was use these paper rolls and a tissue roll that I luckily had in my trash can to make these concrete molds. Essentially what I did was I just taped the bottoms really easily with some little masking tape, and then I taped the tops so that the candle could be held in place, and filled it with concrete. Well, I guess I should say that in reverse. I filled it with concrete, then I take the tops. So that was my process for doing this. It was really easy, and I think it worked out. This was my first attempt at trying to turn some trash into candelabras or candle holders. I picked out some mini apple juice bottles and I decided to try to fill those with concrete. The way I thought it would work was to drill a hole through the top and then put the candle through it after I'd filled the bottles with concrete. But as you can see, after this mess of pouring, and after they unsuccessfully dried, the candle holder actually just fell apart. I'm not really sure why. I think maybe it was because it was just not hardened enough or whatever, but yeah, I knew I had to start over after that. I tried to use a heating gun to loosen and soften the plastic of the apple juice bottle, but the plastic was so strong that it didn't want to budge. And then I noticed that once I started to cut it open and then continually heat it with the heat gun, that's when the concrete really was starting to break apart. So apple juice bottle 1, me 0. At least we know that apple juice bottles are made pretty well, I guess. And now it's time to get them revealed. So I thought that a good way to get the candles out of the concrete would be to use my heat gun to actually melt the wax. This seemed like a good idea and I thought it would work perfectly, but of course things don't go to plan. So when I was trying to melt them, not only was it really taking a while to actually melt the wax, which I thought was strange, but the wax, once it was melting, was covering the concrete and actually like saturating it to where it ended up getting this really splotchy coloration on it. And so that made me very upset. But also, what it was just making a big mess, and also causing like me to have to work extra hard, which ended up causing the candle holder to actually break. And so what I ended up doing was, I realized afterwards that I should put them in the microwave. And so by putting them in the microwave, it actually helped them to melt much easier. And that was the method that I think would have been perfect from the beginning. So now I feel like I was at a point to where I had to fix some of the problems that I was having. So the first thing was to get the candle holder back into one piece, and then also to figure out what was I going to do with this discoloration. And I realized that, maybe I should try to paint them. I really wanted to keep the concrete look, but this is the cards that I was dealt, and so I wanted to make the best of the situation, so that's what I did. So to finish this off, I tried to paint it with this high heat black paint, and I actually ended up hating it. So much so that I decided, maybe I should just paint it antique white. And so I went through and spray painted it antique white, and yeah, hated it as well. Okay, I hated it so much I even tried to wipe it off with a paper towel. Of course, this was not successful, so I had to figure out something else. I knew I was going to have to paint it again. So of course, like a genius, I went back and painted it black. Again, not smart. And then after much frustration, I was like, you know what? It already has black, it has some gold on it. Let's just try to go with, of course, ultra matte white. And still didn't like it. So at my wit's end, I decided, you know what? Maybe I should just paint this by hand. So I just took some old white acrylic paint and painted it by hand. And this is how it turned out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.